Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The fantasy friends have assembled right here. We have got an awesome show for you tonight. Free agency for fantasy is what we're calling it here. We're going to take a pretty deep dive into all of the fantasy relevant free agents. Before we get into that, we would love for you guys to give us a like, subscribe, all that stuff on YouTube. You can find us at Fantasy Friends. We have a Facebook page, Fantasy Friends, pretty much everywhere at Fantasy Friends. And on Twitter, we're at Fantasy Friends, but Friends is spelled Frands. But without further ado, Jason, how you living?
Strong. Still pushing P. Not like Tran's pushing P, but I'm still pushing P.
Well, we got a special guest with us. He's making a second, third. I don't know how many times he's been on the pod. It's been a few, but Tran, what's up, my man?
It's like the fourth time. It's good, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I spent all day at work on this stuff, man.
No,
Tran's
even though I should have been working.
Tran's
you're
a
the
celebrity.
boss. You get to do what you want.
Yeah.
Oh, I try to.
But
Jason,
everyone knows Tran from the end of the episode.
That's true.
Don't make me go get my trophy. Don't do it.
Sorry, I just had to put this on my shoulder real quick. Just wanted Tran to see it. He's the one that bought this wonderful belt for our league.
It is great.
He held it once before he shipped it all to the champion, but maybe one of these days. And 10, 12 years you might have it, Tran. But let's get it. Show. Our first segment here. You talking good? No one's going to hit me with an echo? God damn it, guys.
I tried to do it with my facial expression. I was like,
oh, okay. That's fair. All right, shoot. This one's freaking easy, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl 56. The Los Angeles Rams are our world champions for 2021. Yep.
Called it.
Let me get y'all's thoughts on the games. On the game, not the games.
It went exactly the way we described, Eric. I was proud.
I loved it. I mean, I love the fact that that the Rams won. I was just thoroughly happy that Matt Stafford got his redemption. To me, I mean, this dude's been playing on such a crappy team for such a long time, and to watch him win that, I mean, you can see we're going to see Burrow in the Super Bowl probably a few more times, hopefully, because the kid's good. But I love the game. Not too many penalties. Sure, there's some controversial calls, but I think overall it was a pretty nice game.
Well, let me expound upon that point. Jason, I'll go to you first. What did you think about those penalties at the end? Well, they let them play pretty much the whole game, right? They missed that big call on the face mask. Gosh, who was it? T. Higgins to Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, thank you. Are you good? Oh, he's gone. All right, Tran, to you.
God.
What did you think about those penalties at the end? Did you actually think they're like controversial or?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I wonder if it was just the refs trying to redeem themselves because, I mean, that call with T. Higgins was big. I mean, it was one of those, like, I know the NFL tried to kind of make the case of where if you just kind of rake a little bit on the face mask and there's not too much of a pull, then it's not a foul. But you could literally watch Ramsey just turn and fall. So that should have been a call. And I'm wondering if they were just trying to make up for it with the whole, Cooper Kupp pass interference by Eli Apple. So,
yeah, I mean, it was a 75-yard touchdown. I mean, that missed call was directly responsible for a 75-yard touchdown. Jason,
and
what did you think about the officiating?
The play you just talked about, Jesus Christ. But, I didn't think it was any worse than the games before it. I don't think it was much better, but it wasn't worse. I don't know how to say that, man. Like, yeah, the whole 75-yard TD is pretty fucking serious. But there's my F-bomb. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Nothing stood out to me. I think we're all just frustrated with the NFL at this point anyway. So, other than the big scoring plays, nothing is really standing out to me at the moment, especially because, I mean, the defensive line was gnarly and, they weren't calling holding left and right. So
that is my most frustrating call in the NFL in general is holding. Dude, you can literally call a hold on every play. You really could. Hey, Jason, you played offensive line in high school, right? So like how I can't obviously you haven't played against like freaking how hard is it to keep someone that's faster, that's attacking you're backing up, right? How hard is it to keep somebody in front of you without at least, getting your hands on the, you know what I mean, on the inside there and kind of letting them go a little bit?
It's not so much that's the difficult part about it. It's really your footwork, firstly, because you've got to anticipate their move to stay in front of them. If you don't have the footwork, then you're going to end up holding on almost every play. And so, and secondly, I think it's just the pressure of knowing I'm going to be the asshole who just let him through. And so a lot of times you go, I'd rather my quarterback not, get an ACL blown out. Fuck it. And it's like an F-bomb. But yeah, you got me thinking about it now. So a lot of times I think that they take holding calls to avoid like bigger, more serious issues.
I got you. I mean, to me, the whole controversy at the end, they missed a blatant hold on Logan Wilson, the play right before he was called for what I thought was pretty much a phantom pass interference. That looked like really good defense to me.
Nothing. Yeah.
But I think that was a 3rd and 8. But a 2nd and 8, he held the shit out of whoever was going over. It was probably Cup, I think. But he held the shit out of him. I called, like I was watching, I was like, that was a hold. Like that's defensive, like that's DPI, man. But here's my thing. Absolutely, they let him play, and I'm happy with that. Like I don't have any issue. I can kind of understand the controversial thing. Like they started calling, Here's the problem, Zach Taylor. Why the fuck is Samaje Perine out there on your 3rd down packages with the game on the line, and Joe Mixon is not out there? That's just trash, dude.
I had a. I gotta get used to this. I had a Washington Commander beside me, and I made sure all that every time Perine hit the field. I don't know. I don't know what makes you think that's the move.
Tran, you're shaking your head in disbelief. I mean,
dude, and Joe Mixon has been having such a Joe Mixon has had such a good season, and we gave him shit. I mean, no, sorry, S-bomb, but we gave him such crap for what 4.5 years. I didn't realize he'd been in the league for 5 years, but we gave him such a bad time, and then he had a phenomenal year, and then that mixed in with the fact that even the Rams couldn't run the ball this time. Why would you not just put one of your most effective guys to just bust it through? It's kind of the whole, why didn't you put Lynch in?
Give a 3rd and 1 and a 4th and 1 to win to essentially salt the game away, and not salt the game, but get them in field goal range. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry. And it was.
I love the people talking about how Burrow gets so many comparisons to Brady, but there wasn't any any QB sneaking going on during those plays, which
Tom Brady's automatic with the QB sneak.
Oh yeah, you know it's coming on 4th and 1.
I think Burrow,
and you can't stop it. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. So we all thought it was a good game. Jason, you're right. We called it. I mean, the first half it looked like we were going to be wrong. Honestly, it was 1 sack on Burrow. They were triple teaming Aaron Donald, and at least for me, as I was watching the game, I was like, he's going to eat. Like you can't stop this man for that long, and especially when you have Von Miller and Floyd. I forget his first name.
Yeah.
Leonard Floyd, maybe.
Yeah,
Leonard.
It was. I was going to say it was that adjustment that really kind of I think allowed Aaron Donald to do it with Von Miller going kind of onto the inside and then having Floyd and Donald just going straight downhill. That allowed a lot of openings for sacks.
Yeah, and you just kind of knew at the end of the game Donald was going to get that stop. I'm sure y'all have seen the video of Sean McVay saying Aaron's going to do it. Aaron's going to make a play, and lo and behold, the 300-pounder with 10% body fat makes a play.
Yep.
That's a
I don't mean this in a real homo, but I want his body.
I feel you. Dude, this guy's
That's a big body dude.
This is gonna be one of my favorite players of all time. He'll go down that way for sure.
All in all, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jason.
I just love defenders who are automatic. That's there's a clutch gene that defenders don't always get to show, and some guys just find a way to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. You're right. Yeah. Especially interior defensive linemen. They're never the stars of the show, but this dude is a star. So all in all, great Super Bowl. It had drama. It had everything that you want from a Super Bowl. So we're going to debut a new segment here. We're going to skip some of our other questions because we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. But our
All
new
right.
segment, WWJD. What would Jason do? Jason, he often compares himself to the Son of Christ. No, I'm just playing. We ain't blaspheming on here. How dare you? No, I just thought it was pretty funny. So what I'm going to do is basically present Jason with a scenario each week, and I'm going to ask him. It's going to be something either that I did personally in fantasy football, or I saw someone else do, and I'm going to ask him, what would Jason do? So for the inaugural WWJD. All right, Jason. So I had the 104 in a startup Superflex tight end premium dynasty league. I had actually moved from 8 to 4, and I basically swapped a 2023 second for a 2023 third to move up 4 spots. I was really happy with that. Let me tell you what the board looked like. So number 1 went Jonathan Taylor, no surprise. Josh Allen, then Patrick Mahomes. What would you do at number 4?
Man, and see, okay. I have a fear of being that guy this offseason who tries to excuse Christian McCaffrey. And I don't want to be that guy. You know what, man? So you say it was Superflex?
It was Superflex, yeah.
And
you only had Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes off the board for quarterback, and then Jonathan Taylor went as the 101, which I think is pretty standard. It's going to be operating procedure for startups this offseason.
Bro. That's so rough. That is so incredibly rough.
I'll tell you what I did after when you tell me.
All right, I'm going to go. I'm probably going to sound like an idiot for this, but I'm going Dalvin Cook, and the only reason being is I really like the new OC coming over to be the head coach there, and I think that he's going to be really good. So he's 26. I'd rather have CMC at 25, but man, you could make the argument of taking like a Joe Burrow or someone who you think might just keep going, getting better and better and better. You can make an argument. You can make an argument for our Chargers quarterback as well, Justin Herbert.
Herbs.
Sorry. Yeah, I couldn't think of his last name. But, I'm going to go Dalvin Cook.
Tran, what would you do? You're here. I'm just going to ask you anyways. What would you do at the 4? Would it be George Kittle? I'm just playing. Sorry.
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
He would have picked George Kittle.
I would have picked
For
George
a little
Kittle.
backstory, Tran took George Kittle. I think it was 2019 was our startup.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the off season of 2019. Tran took
I was
George
a terrible
Kittle.
fantasy player.
That's okay. No, you've grown so much.
Yeah.
No, I would have probably went along the lines of a high end running back or a high end QB, just like that, just to kind of, most of the QBs and the running backs are a huge commodity right now. I mean, you've got good running backs and good QBs here and there that you could probably pick off the waiver wire or, pick late in. But those guys who are consistently getting you 30, 40 points a game, or running backs getting you 20 plus, those are really hard to kind of get in. So.
Okay, so a high-end running back or Justin Herbert. So I'll tell you what I did. I went Jamar Chase, baby. Give me the 22-year-old wide receiver tied to his college quarterback, who is only going to get better, in my opinion. The reason I did, I'll just kind of throw some dynasty philosophy. I'll throw my dynasty philosophy. I looked at quarterback, Jason. I actually looked at Justin Herbert. He was my number 2 pick there. Justin Herbert. I don't have any shares of Jamar Chase anywhere. I really wanted one. And man, he's so young, he's so good. And you were talking about Christian McCaffrey, Jason. I got Christian McCaffrey at the 205.
Wow.
Wow.
Right? I was like, this pick is either going to freaking sink me or it's going to lead me to a championship.
My gut really does say that he comes back and plays it full year and everybody calms down on it. But again, I don't want to be the spokesperson for that. And the first person to get too mouthy about it's going to be the spokesperson for that. So
He's going to be the scapegoat.
let Shane do it.
Yeah, let Shane do it. Yeah. Hell yeah. Cool. All right. So we're going to get into the free agents because we got a ton to get through. So let me take this off. All right. So our free agent preview here. The best way to do this, Jason hooked us up on the show doc here. We're going to go over the top 10 teams in terms of most salary cap space. I'm cutting calories, so that's on my mind right now. I'm just hungry, y'all. That's it. So number 10, Seahawks. So I'm just going to go in order from 10 to 1. Seahawks, Steelers, Colts, Broncos, Commanders, Jets, Bengals, Jaguars, Chargers, Dolphins.
It feels so dirty.
Who stands out from that list to y'all as like, obviously the Bengals, right? So let's just nix the Bengals. Who else on that list really stands out for y'all as far as a team that if they make the right moves, they can have one of those Bengals-esque turnarounds, whether it be the draft or in free agency? Tran, I'll go to you first.
Get it, Tran.
I would say between the Dolphins and the Chargers. There's a lot of gaping issues with a whole bunch of other teams that, you need more than just a couple of picks here and there and a really decent, free agency to fix. The Dolphins, we already know they've got a pretty decent defense. I think Tua takes another step this next coming year, as much as I hate to say it, because I don't like you. But, I think the Dolphins need yet another great wide receiver. They need to pull in with someone who can have, a better running game. Maybe even someone like a Leonard Fournette. But, them, and we already know the Chargers are good. The Chargers are probably going to be in contention for a playoff spot next year as well. Just a couple of spots, a great draft, and, a great free agency this upcoming offseason. I think they could probably take the next step just as easy as, the Cincinnati Bengals did. Because we took them off the board already.
Who do you think, Jason?
So my three teams on this list that I really believe in, and I think could get good quick. Chargers, number 1. All right. Colts, Seahawks. So the Colts have the majority of the line. We think they're going to re-sign Eric Fisher. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the Colts got the line, right? The Chargers got the QB. And the Hawks got the QB. I don't believe anything about Russell Wilson leaving. I'm not trying to hear that shit.
No.
Same.
So these three teams, when I'm looking at this list, I want to say the Colts because they're so good in the trenches. I'm gonna give Carson Palmer the benefit of the doubt here. So
Carson Wentz?
Yeah.
Carson Wentz?
Wentz. God, I was watching Palmer.
They bring out Carson Palmer from
before
retirement.
the Super Bowl. Sorry.
Right.
We saw him right before the Super Bowl. He was talking about Burrow. Yeah, it stuck in my head. But yeah, Wentz, showing my age, man. Yeah. I'm going to give Wentz the benefit of the doubt. So, because I really think when you have this kind of money and you have this receiving core or this list of receiving free agents, and you've got these guys in place, this could get crazy.
And they have a good defense too.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it's going to hurt losing Eberflus. I'm not sure who they. Do y'all, either one of y'all know who they tapped to be the new defensive coordinator in Indy?
Not off the top.
Okay, no worries. But I mean, they have pieces in place already as far as the defense goes.
It's the coach's defense, right? Head coach's defense, right? Defensive minded coach.
Frank Reich, no. Frank Reich's an offensive guy.
Right, you're right.
Frank Reich, he was the offensive coordinator for Doug Peterson, excuse me, when they won the Super Bowl with the Eagles.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Nathan Peterman, I think, right?
It's Gus Bradley. That's who's the new defensive
coordinator. Well,
I'll
be damned.
I can fuck with that.
Hey, Jacksonville had a great defense with Bradley. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll see. I hate him. All the time. I hate him.
Yeah,
But anyway,
I,
yeah,
I was just saying, I just the Colts really stand out to me in this list.
Yeah.
The Colts and the Chargers and the Dolphins. I think those are the easy pickings, the low hanging fruit
Mhm.
there. So
yep,
let's talk about some freaking free agents here that can help out some of these teams. And so what we're going to do too, I want to kind of qualify this. We're going to try and be as realistic as possible.
yep,
Obviously, we would love Aaron Rodgers to go to, I don't know, Tampa Bay or Pittsburgh or something for we're talking like fantasy value, but their cap situation is not super great. The Steelers is, it's fine, but
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to try and be as
I'll
realistic as possible with this.
I personally won't predict. I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but I can, but I personally,
I
you
do.
will not hear me predict a team taking a player at any point in this who I haven't already checked for the cap space on. So,
Perfect. I love it. All right. So let's get it started, man. So just a quick, what we're going to do, we're just going to overview the player here. We're going to discuss the best landing spots. And if we disagree or if we agree, that's fine. If we disagree, we can kind of
like,
flesh it out a
yeah,
little bit. So
Yeah.
let's get it started at the top with our big time, like our big name fantasy relevant free agents. So for all my IDP folks out there, if you're watching or listening, we're going to get into that later down in the off season. We'll try and get to some of that tonight, but I'm not sure how we'll do on time. So we're going to get started with one of my favorite wide receivers. Jason and I talked about him a ton last offseason. Allen Robinson, wide receiver, Chicago Bears. He got the franchise tag in 2021. Got paid, I think, close to about between 16 and $18 million. It was a lot.
Yeah. It was 18. I think it
It
was
was
close to
18.
the
Thank you.
highest that you could do.
Yeah, so his targets in 19, 154. His targets in 20, 151. 66 targets in 2021 here. I've heard a rumor, and I'll just get y'all's opinion. I heard a rumor Matt Nagy wasn't using him as much to try and keep his costs down so they could re-sign him next year.
yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. If that's the case, then Mooney was overfed or something. I don't know. I don't like that, and I don't think Justin
Mhm.
Fields, running for his life on a lot of those plays, had the wherewithal to. So you know what I'm not going to do? Not going to throw it to the open receiver because coach said so. Nah.
Right.
That's a good perspective, honestly.
So
Yeah, I don't
stupid.
see that. Yeah, I don't. I just don't see it.
Because that makes Justin look stupid as shit. I mean,
Yeah,
not
it
going to
really
throw it
does.
to one of the best wide receivers. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
So, best landing spots and just kind of your overall thoughts, Tran. What do you think about Allen Robinson?
Oh, I love him. I love him. Dude's got great hands, great route running. And actually, not counting 2017, dude has had maybe two off seasons overall. And they weren't even terrible seasons. But he's played with some terrible QBs and has produced phenomenally for someone who doesn't have a Tom Brady or doesn't have at least a reasonable quarterback. But I got five landing spots for him that I think would do well for the team. Eagles, Dolphins, Colts, of course, we said. Uh, Jets, if they need someone who can really catch the ball, who would probably help Elijah Moore grow in that season too. And the Bills, always the Bills. I always want the Bills to have somebody,
Dude,
but I
you're
don't. They can't, but they
dude,
can't afford them. They cannot afford them.
got you. Okay, I like those landing spots. Where do you think he's most fantasy relevant out of those five?
Uh, Probably I would say between the Dolphins and actually no, I would say the Eagles, the Dolphins, or the Colts, just because he's gonna be able to be targeted so much more with one extra player such as Devonta Smith or Michael Pittman versus someone else. Now the Colts may be a little bit more difficult just because you got Jonathan Taylor running all over the place. But fantasy wise, I'd say probably the Eagles or the Dolphins.
Okay, what do you think, Jason?
So when I looked at it, this is what I saw, and this is what I liked for it. You know, you got to play GM if you're the Chargers, right? You got a lot of money, but
Mhm.
you want to get in a position like a Tampa Bay scenario or a Arizona Cardinals scenario. You want to put that offense on the field. You want to have the Dallas Cowboys scenario, I'd say, before, certain people decided they couldn't run the ball anymore.
He tore his PCL in week 5. So
But anyways, this is what I do. I say and this is what I wrote down. I'd say you let Mike Williams walk. You get Allen Robinson for less.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got another pick coming up later to pair with this. So when we get to that guy, I'll bring it back.
Oh,
I really like that fit, Jason, a lot, actually.
it's good. It is good.
Because when you said let Mike Williams go, I was like, you damn right. Like, he's younger. He's going to probably cost more money. Mike Williams, that is.
It costs a butt ton. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to get paid for sure. We'll talk about him later, too. Fantasy relevant wise, the Chargers are going to throw the ball. They're going to be one of the top like pass attempts in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily like it for the Dolphins. Tua hasn't shown me enough yet. And we're talking specifically for these players' fantasy values. I love if he goes to the Dolphins, Tua, we could freaking war Tua. Like, let's go. I think that increases his fantasy value, but I don't think Allen Robinson gets as much. You know who it's weird because it doesn't make sense logically after what I just said. But if he went to the Jets, I wouldn't hate that because he's going to automatically be the number one receiver there. He has Corey Davis and Elijah Moore to take coverage away from him.
Right.
Zach Wilson sucks, though. That's the problem. However, their offensive line, if it stays healthy, they have a good offensive line.
Let's wait on.
He progressively got better.
Let's wait on the Zach Wilson. Let's give that a minute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Year 2, enough.
Man. Yeah. So we got.
I'd give him till year 3, maybe.
Year 3. Man, you know how these GMs do now, though. Like if you're not producing by year 2, see you later.
I'm a year 2 guy. That's when if you don't do it right then and there, you're not going to get it. And also, for some reason, it just seems to be the most fantasy relevant year for young quarterbacks.
Unless you're Daniel Jones.
Pops. Yeah, unless you're Daniel Jones.
All right, so we got Chargers for Jason. I will take the Jets, and then who did you say? The Colts?
I'll go with Miami. No,
Miami. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Allen Robinson's in the books. Our next one, he is one of my favorite players. I've drafted him.
I like him.
In pretty much every league, or I've traded for him in every league I've been in since 2019. It's Chris Godwin. He is 26. He'll be 26 going into 2022. He got the franchise tag in 21. They paid him just under $16 million. He set career highs in targets with 127 and passes at 98. Had 1,103 yards and 5 touchdowns, and that was in 14 games before he did tear his ACL and MCL. However, Dr. James Andrews, like the famous surgeon, joint surgeon, if you will, I don't know. He's the one that operated on everything I've seen. Has said he's going to make a full recovery. He's not an old guy, so he shouldn't get any sort of. He really shouldn't miss any steps, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, Jason, I'll hit you up first.
So
I'm really excited to see what you got for him.
This is the easiest move. In my opinion, just from a place of business, you're 26 years old. You already have a ring. Everything is in your hands. You make your own decisions now. You have no motivations beyond getting that maximum payout. You've already a champion. Go to Miami, get all that money. Get some stupid $60 million contract or something. Go get something crazy. I swear to God, if his agent doesn't go do that, he absolutely needs a new. Like, he should just keep firing them until one gets it right, because this is the obvious move. I don't see how it's any more obvious. You get to stay in Florida and you get hella paid, and you already have a trophy.
Yeah.
Tran,
I mean, they have $64 million. At this point, he has nothing to prove. He already has proven he's one of the best wide receivers in the game. Get that max contract. If he happens to win another, Super Bowl, fine. But at this point, get paid what you're worth, man. I absolutely agree with Miami Dolphins. But on another note, he could go to the Chargers, win another one for himself. They have $57 million in cap space, and they'll probably free up some more during the offseason.
So
yeah.
I'm actually writing an article right now on the 5 best places for Chris Godwin to go in free agency. So Spot Track, they basically evaluate players and project their contracts. He's projected to get a 5-year, $90 million contract. So I mean, he's going to get the bag, whether he signs with Tampa Bay, whether he re-signs with Tampa Bay, which I don't think is a terrible move.
No.
I agree that. Now, you know what? I don't agree that Miami's the best place for him for fantasy. This is my case for him. Go to the Colts. They have a line. They don't. The only thing they don't have is a quarterback. Michael Pittman is primarily an outside receiver. Chris Godwin is a premier, maybe number 2 behind Cooper Kupp. Keenan Allen's really good slot receiver too, but he's a premier slot receiver. They could use him over the middle, working zones. He would be phenomenal to pair with Michael Pittman. And from everything I've heard, they are trying to get out of the Carson Wentz deal. They're trying to trade him away.
That's what I hear too. So I'm really weird about. I didn't want to lead with that when we were talking about Colts in the beginning, but man, it's still such a good team without Wentz. I don't. Here's my thing. From a fantasy standpoint, you're absolutely correct. But my logic behind it was when I'm looking at deals on the table, well, Kansas City comes with we're going to win a championship. LA comes with the potential of we're going to try to win a championship. The Indianapolis Colts can even argue, hey, we've been almost there every year. We could go win a championship. Miami's the only team that's like, we'll pay you. Everybody else has something to bring to the table and gamble with this, but Miami's just like, here's all the money, and that's why I say, like, from a business standpoint, I say that's the right move because he has the opportunity to reach into their chest and pull their heart out. You know what I mean? Like it's so
he could even go to Cincinnati if he wanted to. I mean, they got the money for it.
That's
they
too
do.
Well, and the thing is, though, I would because Tyler Boyd is on the last 2 years of his contract. They could probably end up settling with a trade in the offseason if they wanted to. He's only hitting a cap of $8 million, maybe a little bit less than that per year. You could probably cover that. So you would have Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase all. Oh, not Tyler Boyd. I mean, Chris Godwin all in one receiving core.
Lord. But you got to think too, man. They got to pay Jamar Chase soon. They got to pay T. Higgins even sooner than that.
Oh yeah.
Dude. It's talking about making a super team. That's Miami Heat in 07, or no, that's Boston Celtics in 07.
Not even fair.
I'm throwing an idea out there. The Philadelphia Eagles, man. He played college ball at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Delaware. Maybe he wants to be closer to his hometown. I wouldn't want to move out of Florida personally. I would. Yeah. He should come to Arizona. Honestly, that would be phenomenal. But their cap situation is doo doo.
It's terrible.
Let's take a look at
right now.
What's Philly got to pay here? Philly has 20 mil. 20
points. Yeah, Philly has money.
Philly's got reason.
Yeah,
they'll clear some of that up.
Yeah, I like that move a lot, honestly. But yeah, for me, it's the Colts for Chris Godwin for sure. All right, moving on. Oh man, Davante Adams. He's going to be 30 going into the 2022 season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it's an argument. He's the best wide receiver over the past 3 or 4 years for fantasy, for real life. It doesn't hurt that he's got Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball, the back-to-back MVP. My real question is, let's say he is gone. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he gets a franchise tag personally.
Mm-hmm.
What does his production look like without Aaron Rodgers? Let's say he goes and reunites with Derek Carr, like he talked about.
Okay, so let me just go ahead and jump in because that's my call. That's what I'm making. If I'm saying that Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back, if we're saying that's over, then I absolutely have Las Vegas taking Davante Adams. I can't get. I'm old.
You're stuck in the past tonight, my man.
I am.
Yeah,
using some old terminology. But
he's
anyways,
like, the St. Louis Rams won the Super Bowl.
I might accidentally say that at some point. But no, he's going to Carr. You're right, because guess what? That's the best pairing. Or you got familiarity, a quarterback we believe can play, and there's money, and it's a
Yeah.
good market. So it's, arguably he's taken a step up from Green Bay, as far as the market goes. They'll probably sell more
And
Adams jerseys in black and silver.
Las
dude,
Vegas has a great
that shit
defense
would
too.
blow up if he went to Vegas,
So,
dude.
I think it's happening as long as Aaron
oh
Rodgers
God, yeah.
doesn't. If he comes back, that's a whole other problem.
Oh, sorry, I thought we cut out for a second.
No,
What do you think, Tran? Do you think he's getting the franchise tag number one? Like, is that like your actual thought on what's going to happen?
Again, I think it really does depend on if Aaron Rodgers comes. But even then, they might still franchise tag him anyways. Just to have a phenomenal, wide receiver. And here is my comparison for Devontae Adams, and this is the type of wide receiver he is. I remember when I did not believe in Tom Brady for the longest time. I thought he was a mediocre quarterback, and then all of a sudden, I remember watching
He's a
one
system
game.
quarterback.
Yeah. And then I watched one game, and I watched him continuously throw it to Julian Edelman. And I swear to all goodness, the whole game was slowed down when I watched that. And it was like, we know he lets it go in less than 3 seconds, but it felt like it was taking forever to get there, but it was just his effectiveness. That's how I see Devontae Adams when he runs his routes, when he catches the ball, when he senses the ball is like 5 feet away from him and he's already reaching for it. And the defender has no idea. And so it's like the dude is he's just another type of guy that you just can't compare it in a lot of other wide receivers. You got great ones, and then you got Adams.
Yep.
Dude is just amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
Also,
as
just for the viewer, listener, what have you, I didn't mention Raiders are 13th in cap space, so
yeah,
they do
have what, about 20
Mhm.
mil? Let's see.
21.
Yeah, they have
21.
20.5. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, to me, I think him and Rodgers are a package deal. I think
Mhm.
Adams' decision depends on Rodgers' decisions as much as Rodgers' decision depends on Adams' decision.
Yeah.
I don't think they should sign him to a long-term deal. He's already 30 years old. He's been playing in the league for a long time. He has concussion. He has a past of history of concussions. The only other place I would say, I would say Atlanta, but they're in cap room hell right now. They're like way over. But I'm to try to think of some place that would replace the
Well,
efficiency
when you
of
say
Rodgers
they,
with just volume.
when you say they, do you mean Green Bay?
What you mean?
When you said I don't think they should re-sign him because he's 30 years old. Who were you talking about?
Yeah, Green Bay.
You were saying Green Bay. I just want to make sure you
Yeah.
weren't talking about. Okay, so, but see, that's where you get in all these problems every year because he's 30, so he believes he deserves, the stability more than ever now. You know what I mean? That's the push and pull of this, and Rodgers didn't like how they handled any of his other receivers. And I also heard just a little bit earlier that MVS is in the package deal as well. That Rodgers is trying to call his shots with MVS as well. Oh my God!
I didn't think he liked him very much, just the way he looks
I
at him
don't
on the
see
field.
why.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, MVS has never showed me anything other than, hey, I can run a 9 route and I will catch it 30% of the time. But
Yeah.
I mean, he got passed up by Lazard this year too. So
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Lazard
like,
killed it.
Lazard's been number 2 on the depth chart for the past 2 years. And
yeah,
shoot, he was talking about Jake Kumaro 2 seasons ago being his number 2 target. Like,
Mhm.
So there's Devontae Adams. I want to really, really, really quickly hit on Odell Beckham Jr. Tore the same ACL in the Super Bowl that he tore in 2019. He was a stud in the playoffs, and honestly, he was a stud for the last 7 regular season games. He had 5 touchdowns. Is absolutely integral to that offense. But
It's
when
Mayfield's
Robert Woods
fault.
comes back, he's the number 2. Like Robert Woods is the number 2 on that team.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I want y'all's opinions. I literally have no idea where I would even place OBJ to bring him back to fantasy relevance.
I think you can get OBJ for cheap. So I mean, I think he just wants to be relevant at this point. I don't know how much he cares about money. I could
Shoot.
see someone. I mean, he wants money, but like not quite as much. I think I could see like someone like New England clearing up a lot of cap space to try to get him
Hmm.
for a reasonable amount. Um, or even even somebody like Chicago because he wants to play with somebody who is young and up and coming.
That's a good call. I like
I,
Chicago.
he came out and he said that he would give LA a discount to come back. I think he really wants to come back, and here's the thing we didn't think about. If he doesn't get with that LA team, does he get with a different LA team? Does he get with a Las Vegas team? Does he get with an Arizona team? Does it, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah,
everybody out there can pay this guy. He's not going to demand a huge contract. He's
no.
not. Now he's playing
Oh,
on
do
the
you hear what
opposite
Aaron
side.
Donald said?
What's that?
Aaron Donald said, you know how about he's talking about possibly retiring? He said that if you bring OBJ and you bring back Von Miller, he'll stay.
Run it
They'll
back.
probably they'll
No,
probably
no,
do it.
no. Yeah. I mean, I could see it happening.
I already heard good things about the Vaughn situation. I already heard like a lot of
Mhm.
positive talk there. So, I mean, if it means you got to give Odell Beckham $5 million, I think they'll figure it out.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. I worry about his fantasy value in that scenario. I mean, and honestly, OBJ might be a buy low candidate in Dynasty right now. Like
Do
Mhm.
I
you know where
think you could. What's up?
he belongs in Kansas City? And they have a
I
quarterback
can
who
see
makes a
it.
lot of money, who could what's the word I'm looking for? Could
Restructure.
restructure that contract. Uh,
Yeah.
it definitely helped them get somebody in. I'm just saying. I
Yeah.
mean, I know he's got to get tired of throwing at the same guy.
No, that's actually I mean, could he just ring chase at this point? He really could.
Yeah.
He was emotional as hell after the Super Bowl.
That's what I would do.
Oh, dude, me
Especially
too. People were
because
making fun of him about that
Yeah.
shit. I was like, man, fuck y'all. Like the dude
Dude.
he tore his ACL and then watched his team win a Super Bowl. Like after he was like 3 for 3 with the first touchdown of the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Yeah, he had the first touchdown. That's right. Anywho, Juju Smith-Schuster, I really want to hit on him because I think he's incredibly interesting especially for Dynasty. He's only 26 years old, which is crazy to me because it feels like he's been in the league
A long time.
this is his 5th year, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that's just nuts. He came in so young. He was so productive early. He had a 1-year deal for $8 million with the Steelers last season. From everything I've heard, and Tran, I'll go to you first because I know you got your ear to the ground for your Pittsburgh folks. Everything I've heard says he wants to play. He wants to continue. He wants to finish his career in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think he'll come back home, but I think right now he's in such a weird limbo with the team dynamic where they're gonna have to pay him a ton because he's a good player when he's playing. But one, we don't have the money. Two, we don't have the quarterback. And it just is not gonna work out with Juju in there, especially having to pay, Deontay Johnson soon, and then, you know, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about Clay Chapel for for the upcoming years. He's shown that he's good, but I haven't seen the maturity moving forward just yet. So I think eventually we might be able to get Juju back in about 3, 4 years, maybe. But that's just kind of a coming home and retiring with the Steelers because I mean we love Juju. He's a great guy just around in Pittsburgh. So
Where do you think he
I just don't
goes
see
then?
that.
And what sort of
It's
contract? Because he's really young. He's been productive. Um, I mean,
I
I would imagine
I
he took a 1-year prove it deal.
right.
Unfortunately, got injured. Like
Yeah.
that sucks. Where does he
I
go?
think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be from now on an incentivized contract, where he'll make a pretty decent base, and then if he shows that he, is not going to get injured and then produces really well, maybe 1,000 yards, he'll get an extra couple million. I could see him going to someone like what do you call it? Jesus, Kansas City, um, or just any really needy. But the thing is, I don't see Juju, and he doesn't seem like the type of character that's going to go to a team that doesn't compete. So you could see him going to Seattle. You can go see him going to any team that can afford him, maybe a $8 to $10 million contract right now that
Yep.
could sign him, but nothing too big because I just it's a lot of question marks for someone like Juju. Great wide receiver, hasn't proved a lot since AB left.
That's very true. Yeah, I mean, he really hasn't. I think he's been hampered by injury a lot, though.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I traded a first round, and I traded a lot actually for him in our dynasty league. Um, oh no, both y'all's connections. Yeah, man, I think Juju is the one that makes sense to me in Miami. I think that makes a lot of sense. Pair him with Jalen Waddle, pair him with an outside guy like Devontae Parker, and give, I'm trying to look up what his projected contract would be, but Will Fuller is probably gone. He was only on a 1 year deal. You only have Jalen Waddle, Allen Hurns, Devontae Parker. I think those are the only three. Oh, and Lynn Bowden. Lynn Bowden is there too. But he's kind of like a running back wide receiver hybrid. But everybody else is not under contract through 2022. So I think Juju would actually do pretty well in Miami. I think he's the type of receiver that would aid a lot in Tua's development too.
It's interesting you went there because I have basically the opposite scenario where I sent Godwin to the Dolphins. I actually have Tampa Bay bringing in Juju because he would be the dark horse candidate to go beside Mike and have a real number one receiver beside him and get back to the way he played when he played with Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh. To me, Bruce Arians knows this. So I think that's the real move because I don't see Chris Godwin staying. So I think that he's going to be a dark horse, sneaky guy that gets in there and takes a real job that actually works for him and actually brings him back to life.
Jason, that is an awesome take because if he's the slot guy for Bruce Arians' offense, you got Larry. You have the history, man. Larry freaking Hines Ward, Larry Fitzgerald, Chris Godwin. We just talked
Chris
about.
Godwin. Well, we just
they produce, man. I like that a lot, actually.
It's a good one.
Like I said, all mine is tied together. So if I put someone somewhere, it affects another. You see, like I did a real scenario.
You're doing like franchise mode on Madden right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, let's hit some of these. I want to hit 2 running backs. Actually, we're gonna hit 3 running backs real quick, and then we'll try and get to some tight ends. Melvin Gordon.
Please hit.
He's gonna be 29. My question, I mean, he's obviously in a timeshare. He was basically a 50-50 split with Javonte Williams in Denver, and he was incredibly productive to be like his quote-unquote advanced age, and I mean that from a running back perspective. Do y'all think he stays in Denver? And I'll say this, do you think he stays in Denver? And if so, is that the best case scenario for his fantasy value? And if he doesn't, where does he go and he can actually be fantasy relevant given that he's going to be 29?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'll go for it, Tran.
Go ahead.
You go first.
You go, Tran.
Yeah. All right. So I was when I was doing research on Gordon, I was highly surprised at how effectively consistent this dude has been. I think his best bet is to stay in Denver. The team is good. They just have to get that quarterback thing down. But dude, just on the stats alone, Melvin Gordon has had no less than 162 carries in 7 seasons. The dude has had 3 seasons with 12 games and no less than 612 yards on the ground. But the dude has produced 1,000 all-purpose yards in every season he has ever been in, and he's had no less than 9 all-purpose TDs, but no less than 8 TDs on the ground every single season. So Javonte he will eventually take over. He's going to end up taking over in Denver. But I don't know if other people are going to see Melvin Gordon's worth, the way that the Broncos have effectively done right now. Will he produce? I think he will probably stay on track with the all-purpose yards staying close to 1,000. Maybe not quite as much with the 8+ on the ground TDs, but he had he had 4 more TDs than Javante this year. So I think the dude is he's well underrated.
And Gordon's always been he's always had a nose for the end zone. Like even
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
his San Diego Charger days and his Los Angeles Charger days. Jason, what do you
Yeah.
think, man?
Well, I just don't think he goes anywhere because it is a good spot for him. He knows the offense. They're familiar with him. They're not getting better at quarterback, which means they're going to have to continue to lean on that running game. And even if you are working Javante in as the 1A, he's still going to get plenty of work at 1B. Until they fix that quarterback situation, I'm not convinced they're going to let go of a two-headed monster like that. You saw the same thing with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry in Tennessee. It was a very similar situation. We don't have a quarterback, so we're going to have to ride these guys, you know?
But Super Mariota.
Whatever.
Dude, I'm trying to pull up this startup draft I'm in right now because Javonte Williams, in my opinion, is going so high in drafts, going way
I don't
too
get it
high
either.
in
There's a lot
drafts.
of
Like
talk about that.
he's phenomenal. He's a really good running back, but he's going to be in a timeshare at least for this next year. It's clear that they don't, he's just I don't know if they don't trust him. Maybe it's pass pro, or they just want to keep him fresh because that is the way of. I think it started a bunch like several years ago, where there aren't really any workhorse running backs anymore. Christian McCaffrey got hurt. Todd Gurley got hurt. These guys that Shady McCoy, well, he broke down towards the end of his career because he was in his late 20s, early 30s. But these guys, you just can't run these guys forever, and teams are catching up with that. So I think he stays in Denver too. And I think Tran, you're right. I don't know if he's going to get the 1,000 all-purpose yards, but I think he'll still be relevant from a touchdown point of view. So that makes him, to me, an awesome, awesome best ball target because he's going to have a couple games where he blows up for a couple touchdowns, and you could get him in like the teens. I would say like the approaching double digits in best ball leagues. All right. Leonard Fournette, man, he finishes the RB4 in points per game, PPR scoring, second in targets at the position. Granted, Tampa Bay threw the ball, I think, about 40 more times than the second place team, which was Kansas City. What do y'all is that production sustainable?
No.
Without Tom Brady.
Yep.
Without Tom
No,
Brady. That's what I meant to say.
You have to respect the GOAT. You have to respect the GOAT to get that kind of production. What I will say about him, just so I know we're getting low on time, this is what I'll say about Leonard Fournette. If they don't re-sign him, then he is another candidate that I like to leave Tampa Bay for Miami, stay in Florida. Miami has not invested in a running back in like 5 to 6 years, not a real one. And now you have all this money. You have all this money, and he's right there. And he's still, what? Fournette's 28?
He'll be 27. Right? He'll be 27.
Yeah.
That's another guy, man. He's been in the league forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like freaking Joe Mixon. I didn't realize he started when he was like 20, and the dude's still only 25.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous.
I want to hit on this next point. I'm sorry, Tran, what do you think about Leonard Fournette? I was giving you the Cam treatment. I was just ignoring you.
I was literally going the same way as both of you guys. I mean, he needs to go to a place that running back needy, like especially a place like Miami.
And I think if he goes to Miami with Mike McDaniel there, bringing over the Shanahan offense, they do a lot of cool blocking schemes for them. He's going to see a lot of targets out of the backfield too, because that's who Tua is. Tua is a short arm quarterback. He's gonna check it down a lot. So I like that call, Miami. The next one, I have to get to this because it just blows my mind. James Conner was an absolute touchdown machine. Let me see where he finished. Points per game. James Conner was the RB9 in 2021. And I just want to put some perspective on that for y'all before we get y'all's opinions on it. So we had 18 touchdowns on 241 opportunities. Again, opportunities is carries plus targets. For some perspective, Najee Harris had 10 touchdowns on 401 opportunities. Joe Mixon, who was amazing, right? He was great, had 16 touchdowns on 340 opportunities. So 2 less touchdowns on nearly 100 more opportunities for James Conner. Production's not sustainable. That's all I'll say about that.
No. That if you want to talk about regression, that's going to end up being a huge regression. I mean, and you know, I think one of the big parts of it was just because DeAndre Hopkins ended up getting injured halfway through the season. Sure, he was still a touchdown monster before then, but you know that played an even bigger role because no one else was doing anything else.
And Chase Edmonds missed a few games as well.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, you had a quizzical look on your face when I said
Well,
it's
I
not
just
sustainable.
never.
You're like,
I never understood why James Conner got thrown out of Pittsburgh after one bad year. You know, the guy beats
a bad
cancer.
offensive line too.
Yeah, but guy beats cancer. He was awesome. He was one of the best players on the team. Everyone loved him. He had one bad season and kicked to the curb. So I don't understand it. I like him. He's only 26 years old. I think he's the guy in Arizona. I don't like Edmonds. I say put him
I
back.
think he's gone.
I can bring him back.
Yeah, I think Edmonds is gone. They keep Connor. Been saying it the whole year.
26. I mean, come on.
He actually looked really spry and fast when he was like the main ball carrier for those games that Chase Edmonds was out. But is that because he was splitting so much time? He had really fresh legs, honestly. He had something like, let me see here. He only had 752 rushing yards with a 3.7 yards per carry. And obviously yards per carry is a pretty trash metric, but
well, I think
he
Kyler
wasn't very
helps.
efficient.
I think Kyler helps you a lot too because he gets kind of lost back there with a lot of guys. I'm not picking on him, but it's a real deal. It's a real thing. Like you really, you know, it's a little harder to see what the hell Kyler's doing, and the way they run that offense definitely keeps you guessing. I think I think it gives defenses trouble. You know, it's just a little spice in there. You know, but I like him a whole lot. I don't know why. I don't know why you'd pass on him.
I would say he's not going to get he's not getting close to 18 touchdowns again. I'm going to say that.
No.
His best bet to return, I don't think he's going to return value either because what round do you think he goes in? What do y'all think he goes in redraft? What round?
Man, he could be
5,
an RB2.
4, 5, 6, something like that.
Yeah, 5 and 6.
Yeah. I mean, I could even go as high as maybe even like a 7, but
if he's in the 7th round, if he's in the 7th round, I'm okay with. I think I'm okay with 6th round James Conner if he signs with Arizona.
Right.
Once we get up into round 1 through 5, though, that's a little. Let's play a game real quick. Then, would you rather have Leonard Fournette or James? Let's say Fournette goes to Miami. And let's say James Conner stays in Arizona. Would you rather have Fournette or Conner?
Fournette. I would still have Fournette. I love James Conner. Do not get me wrong.
I really like James Conner. I might be biased.
I didn't want him to leave. Yeah, I didn't want him to leave Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's I'm not picking on Pittsburgh when I say all that. Like I'm serious when I say I really think that guy's got a lot more talent than people realize, and I think that one bad year that caused him to have to go find somewhere else to play. And I don't know if maybe, you know, and I hate to assume anything terrible of anyone, but you know, the whole cancer thing. I don't know if maybe teams looked at him and thought, well, I might want to stay away from that. I don't know. But my thing is just I saw him literally be a beloved player and a stud in fantasy to, you know, little hiccup, and then all of a sudden stud player and, you know, stud in fantasy. So to me, I don't see any reason to really shit on the guy or start pushing him down the rankings. I see a guy who had a bad year. That's all I see.
That's fair. I just see massive regression coming for touch because touchdowns are the least sticky stat of you can't predict touchdowns.
Yeah, but is a 10 touchdown year a good year?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So when we say regression, it just sounds a little bit more harsh than what I think.
I understand.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. When I was doing research for this, I was like, he had 18 touchdowns. Good
Yeah.
God.
Well, that's
Which
silly,
makes sense. But if he had, let's take away 8 touchdowns from him, he's
It's still 10.
he's probably barely a running back 2. You know what I mean? Like,
that's where I
just
have him.
well, I'm saying like he might be like 24, 25.
Yeah.
So I think it's really going to depend on what his ADP is coming up next season. So I want to get to like 2 more players. We've hit the hour mark. 2 more players. Do y'all want to go with tight end? There's one
I
quarterback
have to
we
get
have
this
to
one.
talk about.
All right. Let me knock
All right,
this
what do
out
you
real
want, Jason?
All right, so earlier I told you that I had a pairing for Allen Robinson. We were going to let Mike Williams leave because we wanted to pay less for a guy who could play that position and go and turn around and get somebody else and really get our super team on, get that same Tampa Bay formula, that Arizona formula. Let's get Dalton Schultz.
Oh.
We'll get 2 monsters, price of 1, and let's hook LA up. Can you
I
imagine
already
that?
knew
Keenan
you were going
Allen,
there.
Allen Robinson, Dalton Schultz,
And Dalton
Austin
Schultz.
Eckler. Let's go.
I don't
And
want to imagine that.
Oh,
That
let's
is
go. I love
the
it.
missing piece that the Chargers are having is a great tight end, and Dalton Schultz showed his ass this year.
Perfect for that offense.
I agree.
He's a good blocker too.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, oh yeah.
And Donald Parham, he's obviously Parham. A wisp of wind will knock him out. Apparently, with that weird. He didn't even have it was a concussion. He's like fucking seizing
Yeah, and I
up.
think Jared
I'm
Cook is
sorry.
Oh, that thing. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. It took me a second.
Oh my god.
Oops. But I'm saying, dude, he didn't even hit his head that hard on the ground. But
No,
he just took
and
it.
Jared Cook, like you said, Jared Cook's I think 36 years old.
he's getting there.
He's a free agent. He's a free agent. I already checked.
Yeah, he gone.
I don't think he
So
plays
dude, honestly, that's really good. Donald Schultz, Dalton Schultz there, Donald Schultz. That gives me a little bit of a chub. All right, so the last name we're going to talk about, because we already talked about Mike Williams. I agree, Jason. I think that him going. Honestly, I love Mike Williams in New England. I like that a lot for a fantasy perspective and for real life football. I think he would be a great asset for Mac Jones. But Jameis Winston, I think he's so polarizing because the first 5 games of the season where before he tore his knee all to hell, he had a 14-3 touchdown to interception ratio. Not 33-30, 14-3. Where can he go? I won't say can he get back to fantasy relevance. Where can he go to get back to fantasy relevance?
Well, I don't think he's leaving New Orleans. Do we have any reason to believe?
So?
No. Do you have
He's
any
a free
reason
agent.
I
Taysom
think he's
Hill's still
right.
signed there.
Yeah, I think he's still coming right back. If he's not coming right back, I'd say he's a commander going forward. He's going to hashtag take command.
Ooh.
The Sala Commanders.
Sal Commanders.
I could see that. I mean, there's
Commanders?
not a lot of destinations. I mean,
They
you
absolutely
could
have
even
to do something.
you could even throw him into whatchamacallit, into Denver if you really wanted to. You know, at least give him. I don't want to shit on Teddy Bridgewater, but I just do not like the guy as a quarterback. I would rather have Jameis Winston at that point. I mean, he has shown that he can flash and be a really, really good, quarterback. Actually, Jameis didn't even have Michael Thompson this year, did he?
No.
Or Michael Thomas this year.
Mhm.
So I mean, he did it with some trash wide receiver.
Marquez Callaway, freaking Deontay Harris. Deontay Hardy, I guess is his real name.
Yeah.
Let me, fantasy-wise, the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me Jameis Winston. Dude, he's got a big arm, man. Jameis Winston has a hell of an arm. Give me that. Their 10th least in cap space, or 10th most in cap space, I guess. Chase Claypool, his dynasty value goes through the roof if Jameis Winston lands in Pittsburgh. Deontay Johnson's going to. What's that?
I find what you're saying to be hilarious, not because you're wrong, but because this is just you can't make this shit up. You know, the rumor right now is Mariota, right?
to Pitt.
Oh
to
God,
Pittsburgh?
no! God, no!
Yeah. Winston Mariota. Here we go again. Winston
Yeah.
Mariota.
They're
Winston
perpetually
Mariota.
battling.
Give me Winston.
Yep.
Give me
They're
Winston
always
all day.
Yeah, that's the rumor I'm hearing.
I've heard Malik Willis to Pittsburgh as well.
I've heard that as well.
I have
And I've
heard
also
that.
heard trading up for Pickett. I've heard that one as well,
Yeah.
that they want Pickett. But
Pittsburgh does like Pickett a lot.
I'm hearing a lot about some Mariota.
That's wild.
Can you not? I'd rather.
Well, on that note, on the Mariota note, we're going to cut the podcast off here. Tran, dude, appreciate you coming on last minute. I told you about this morning, or Jason didn't know if he would actually be able to make it.
Yeah.
Running errands, being an adult and shit. So thank you so much for coming on, Tran. We really appreciate it, bro. It was a blast. Jason, it's always I won't say a pleasure. It's always something. It's always,
Yeah.
It's always a podcast.
I tried harder today.
No, dude, I love your takes, especially the Dalton Schultz and the freaking was it Chris Godwin who you wanted to send to the Chargers?
Yeah. It was Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
They already have the offensive line. That makes me
the money just makes the money added up.
It does. It does. But yeah, we want to thank you all for watching, for listening. Please, once again, go subscribe on YouTube, Fantasy Friends. The link is in the Facebook profile, the Twitter profile, all that good stuff. But shoot, we'll hit y'all up next week. Next week is the big 5-0 episodes. We're gonna have some special guests on. Tran, we might even bring Tran back on. He was pretty good today. He was pretty good. So we'll have some guests. Well, I don't know what in the hell we're going to be doing. Probably doing a little drafting, but
Episode
we'll see.
50. Let's do some drafting.
Hell yeah. But yeah, but once again, thank y'all for listening. We appreciate it. We're